Set. Recording in progress. Okay, well, I called to order the Board of Assessors meeting at 11:10, it looks like, by my iPhone.
Okay.
All right, so Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. Chairman, before we do that,
Yes, ma'am.
this is a public meeting being audio and video recorded for cable broadcast at YouTube.
Thank you, Nancy, for that.
Welcome.
Okay.
I pledge
Okay, we ready
allegiance to the flag of the United States of
States of
America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
And justice for all.
for all. Now you see how it is impossible to conduct a chorus meeting over the phone.
Yeah, there's a couple of echoes there, Bill.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. You get all out of sync.
Now we made it through.
So the first is Lake Chapter Land application.
Yep.
Okay, so, there's no this is one we keep going over. Okay, so there's
Yep.
no forest plan attached, which is what needed to be done, and it was late, so it's a no-go. It's a sign it.
So the question that was presented to you the
Yep.
last two meetings was for you
Yes.
to call DLS.
Yes, and I'm not. It has no forest plan. And it's late.
Okay.
There's a whole background of this that. Nancy, are you gonna say anything?
I'm writing something here. I'm making a note.
Okay.
I also thought, Eric, you had said you were going to call on this and some other matter. I forgot what the other matter was.
Right, so I did call Jen Williams, and I hadn't heard back from her until late Friday. And when I got her on, I think probably Monday, she was on vacation, so she's not returning until 11:06. So I wasn't able to get an answer.
Okay,
Yeah.
so without a forest plan, we can't move ahead.
Okay,
Anyone that is going to have chapter land in forest must complete a forest plan. And the guidelines for that forest plan are provided by UMass Amherst. And the people looking to put this land in chapter 61 forest have been given that information. And they said they're going to, take care of it, and they're not looking for anything special. So whatever it's classified as right now will remain that way. But in the meantime, they can get a forest plan put together and bring it into us so that the next time we apply, hopefully all the paperwork's in place.
okay. All right, so there's a couple of moving parts there. So then is there any action there? We denying it or
Yes.
just pushing?
We're
Yeah, we are,
denying it.
okay. Okay. Do I have a motion for that?
I'm gonna make that motion.
I make a motion that we deny the request. We have a map and lot number to identify it.
You don't want
The request for
14 lot 5. And map 18 lot 2.
right, map to deny the request for chapter land for 2 lots, map 14 lot 5 and map 18 lot 2.
So I step down as chair and second that motion. It sounds like he's got something else to talk about.
I simply want to say that I agree that this is something we had not heard about before, is the fact that it needed a forester's plan. And certainly I think that's a valid reason to deny the application. However, as we've discussed before, I think being a few days late is not a good reason. And I am concerned that we have told Stephanie for 2 meetings in a row to call, and you just told me you're not going to.
Well, there's other reasons I didn't want to
Regardless.
discuss on camera, so I don't know what
Regardless,
else.
we
you
asked
want.
you to do something and you should have done it.
Well, I'm gonna step in now because she did tell me what the story was. I know who is involved. I know what the family's wishes are. And I said to her, don't go any further because without a forestry plan, we're dead in the water anyhow. And I don't want to cause any concern on the part of the property owners. And I agree, if we were only dealing with late, it's one issue. But, and if one comes in from somebody else and it's late, we'll have to take up that issue. But, so I can't blame it all on Stephanie because I told her not to go any further once I heard about the forest plan.
Yeah, and I don't think, I would say that my thought on that is that we're not looking to blame anything. So Bill, I hear you concerned that, hey, listen, you know, we asked her to call, she didn't call. However, in the interim, she uncovered the fact that it needs a plan. We don't have a plan. So then the call to find out if a couple days late became almost irrelevant.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand your concern, you know, we asked her, but as she moved forward in her position, as, you know, lead assessor, she said, all right, listen, if it were just a couple days, I make the call, but I've also found out this other thing that we just can't approve it, even if we could do it a couple days late. So yeah, I'm fine with that. And if Nancy also had spoken to the family and they said, listen, we're not looking for any special treatment, please don't put us in that spot that we in the town get special treatment over something.
So I'd
Yeah.
just like to mention that I had the same conversation. And
Okay.
as I told them, there is no special treatment. I would do the same thing for any resident in the town.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the board would do that, which is what our intention was, to try to do the right thing by the taxpayer. Just the layering of, you know, an extra thing just kind of prevented Stephanie from saying, all right, well, even if we could move on the lateness, we can't move without the plan. So
I think we're all clear on this.
okay, good. Okay, good. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, Bristol Aggie campus solar project. So something that I was waiting to hear back from Jen Williams on. And it was, I mean, it's at least 3 or 4 days, maybe even a week until I heard back from her. And that was getting late on Friday. And when I called her back, she was on vacation. So I don't have an answer on what we had talked about, maybe getting some answers on. But I know, Nancy, you've got something on this probably.
So I got the power purchase agreement. 56 pages. I scanned the things that were the most, that stood out to me, like sale of electricity, sale of electric energy, supplemental power, purchase options, removal at the end, shutdowns, relocations, taxes, change in the law, pilot amounts. These are I didn't read this whole thing, but in looking at these issues, and I was hoping there'd be somebody here today to clarify it, but there's nobody here. There's reference to a pilot agreement in here. If I am reading this correctly, if the town does not grant the full exemption for personal property, there's provisions for a pilot agreement with the solar company. And if I'm reading this correctly, those taxes under the pilot agreement would be an expense for the school. Quite frankly, I've never seen anything like this before. I'm concerned because there's now an option for a pilot agreement. I thought it was clear the law said it had to be done. Well, if that's the case, why is there an option for a pilot agreement? That's one issue.
When was this drafted? Because the law is new.
Yeah, so does that make any possible agreement prior to that null and void? Right? I mean,
I don't. Oh, this is. It starts out as a boilerplate of almost our own pilot agreement. The dates have to be filled in. I don't know when this proposal was put together. Like I say, I just got it. So I have questions about pilot agreements. I have questions about if this project is sold, because we know that solar farms are built and then they change owners, and I don't know if they're like investments or commodities or whatever. And all our pilot agreements talk about continuation of agreements if there's a new owner and all that. This talks about relocation, and I'm looking at that and I'm wondering, I don't know if this project has been permitted yet by the town of Dayton. I don't know if it's part of the original permit to build and repair the entire campus. So I've got questions for multiple departments here in town. And I did send an email to the town administrator saying, I have concerns about this. I need more answers. And it's something we may need to speak to the town administrator about. I'm not comfortable approving it the way it is right now. I am not looking to hurt the school in any way or our relationship with the school, but I also have to look out for the town of Dayton. And if it was a clear option, if the town doesn't grant this tax-free situation, that there can be a pilot agreement, then I have to say, wait a minute, a pilot agreement means taxes paid to the town. The source of those payments, again, that's up to the county, but I'm just not comfortable doing this. If somebody were to say to me, can you grant it based on the law? I'd say the law is one issue, but now I have a power purchase agreement in draft form, and I don't know the implications of that agreement for the town. So I'd like to dig into this more and talk to the superintendent director and the proponent that brought this to us. And actually, I'd like to go through the whole thing and make a list of questions so that I could send to you and Bill, so that you could look at it and say, look at the agreement and see if, you know, we shouldn't have to try to figure out this agreement.
Right. No, I agree, Nancy. I think where you're going with this, Bill, you make a good point, right? The law is recent, and it might be clear that we can't have, you know, any agreement, that sort of thing, right? So I would agree there. However, if these other towns and cities that did not assess the personal property, maybe they didn't have an agreement like this prior to the law going into effect. And does the law say that any prior agreement that we've got, because we're predated the law, so does the law say that anything previously from here is null and void no matter what? I don't know what the law says. So I think getting council opinion on that, I think, is probably not a bad idea. I don't know where you stand on that, Bill.
That's certainly a legal question. My question on this whole matter would be, we discussed this at our last meeting, and I thought that maybe this was the thing that you were going to talk to them about.
Yeah, it was.
So we were supposed to get an opinion from DLS, and we were supposed to get an opinion from our contractor on whether or not this particular project applied under that specific law.
Right.
Did you contact them?
I contacted Jen Williams, left her a message that there were some issues we need to discuss. I heard back from her quite a bit after I left her the message. And then when I returned her a phone call from that, she was on vacation. And even this morning, she's like, I'm on vacation. I'm not answering questions. So I was like, okay, fine. So I have to wait until she gets back. I called right after our meeting, and I didn't hear back from her for quite some time. Said it was literally last Friday when she called afternoon. And then when I returned her call, she was already on vacation. So that was my question. My question was, listen, does this law nullify any agreement that might have been put in place prior to this law going into effect? That would have been one of my questions. Or does this prevent us from collecting anything at all on that agreement? I just don't know. So I think it's okay to wait and get some counsel. That's just my thought on this. I mean, I think Nancy's right.
Well, if we haven't gotten those two opinions, then yeah, we certainly should kick this can down the road a bit.
I think so. I think so. Just to make sure we're doing the right thing. That's all.
Right. I think before we go for any more opinions, we need to talk to the proponent and the superintendent director, I want to ask the questions. I want to see what I get the answers. By the way, there is a clause called change in law. Means that after the date of this agreement, it hasn't been signed. An applicable law is amended, modified, nullified, blah, 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 blah. Does not include changes. And there's another thing that throws a curveball. Does not include changes in federal or state income tax laws. And I've seen reference to income tax laws in this agreement before. That must relate to the proponent. Because,
Okay,
but anyhow,
Yeah.
What was the rest of that sentence?
All right.
In case of a change, what is it apply or is it saying it doesn't apply?
this agreement's null and void.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's an important part of that agreement. But I'm not sure, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding is that no contract can be, like you and I can't make a contract to break the law. It just. It can't
Right.
be done.
And then in reverse, contract can't be null and void by a new law change necessarily.
No, I think it
So-
can. And like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I think it can. I mean, if you and I had a contract to, let's say, I don't know. We're contracting to sell something, I'm, one of us is a seller and one's a buyer. Let's say it's alcohol, okay? And then all of a sudden, prohibition comes into place. Yeah, our contract is null and void because we can no longer sell alcohol. You see what I mean?
Right, I do. And then on reverse of that, let's say that I get arrested and thrown in the clink for a drug violation, and then 3 years later, that drug becomes illegal. They don't pull me out of prison, right?
I think we're going
They
too
don't-
far.
let's go back.
Yeah, too far into the lawyer lands.
Okay. So,
Exactly. That's why we're not lawyers. So I think, listen, let's just agree that we should get a little bit more opinion and counsel on this.
Okay.
And that way we're doing the right thing. We want to do the right thing no matter what. So I think we're all on the same page too. All right, let's just ask a few more questions and then we'll go from there.
okay, Eric, I'll just read, this is in definitions section. Change in law means that after the date of this agreement, an applicable law is amended, modified, nullified, suspended, repealed, found unconstitutional or unlawful, or changed or affected in any material aspect by any applicable law. Change in law does not include changes in federal or state income tax laws. Change in law does include material changes in the interpretation of an applicable law. Now, that's going around in circles.
But what does it
Yes.
say that it's going to do? May I?
Does it? Yeah, go ahead. Eric, I'm not an expert in contract law either, but I spent a
Oh,
lot of
this is
time
Definition.
dealing with contracts and having to interpret them and then get clarification. Yeah, that's just in the definition section.
It's in the
Bill.
definition section.
So, again, when I look at this and I think about what we have, I feel this conflict. So,
So we'll go down the road a little bit.
I'm going to make a motion that we take this matter under advisement and seek further clarification of the terms of the power purchase agreement and the ability of the town to enter into a pilot agreement. Because those are two issues.
It says right there, basically, that if there's a change in the law, they were going to have to change the contract based on what the different costs are.
Okay. So I made a motion to take this under advisement.
I'm sorry, second.
Okay, motion made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, let's move on to our favorite topic here. Evaluation. Stephanie, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so, I guess I'll just start this off by saying that I don't plan on reading any of my comments. Stephanie and I have sat, we've talked, we've gone through our comments, we've chatted. So I think that's that's as far as I'm going with comments. I don't know where you stand on that, Bill. I know Steph was uncomfortable with that a little bit last meeting, so I would just say, Nancy, I know you did want to probably share some thoughts on this, so if you want to not share thoughts on each evaluation subject, fine. If you just want to give sort of an overall thought process on how staff is doing, that's fine. I welcome that. Otherwise, we'll just go right into the grading system, I guess.
Okay. So what I did, just to, and I only got one copy, which I'll make sure it's handwritten, but I had Stephanie list the scores that each of us gave her, and then I asked her to average them. So by each section, job knowledge, quality of work, so forth, so on, I can tell you what the composite or the average is, which would be the numbers, unless they're changed, unless anyone wants to change them. These are the numbers that will go on the evaluation. So I can give you that summary if you want to hear it.
Well, yeah, so after my discussion, I think I did reevaluate just 2 spots for her. So I would say that, I don't know, Stephanie, did you give Nancy the numbers that I gave you the other day when we sat and chatted?
Yep. So are these the most recent numbers that you summarized?
Nope. Afterwards, there was 2 categories. I was at a 23. I think I'm at a 25 now. Total points.
Okay, do you know what number it was?
Yes. Quality of work number 2 is a 4.
All right.
And then the last one of number 7, leadership, is a 3.
All right, so it's 25.
Correct.
I'm going to pass this so Bill can just see, obviously, the average is off a little, but that's,
So if I may be,
yeah,
I'd like to step back a little bit. Before we started this whole process, I did meet independently with Stephanie, and I discussed with her my grading system, and I wanted to make sure before this was done that my grading system matched your grading system. You know, that we all agreed on what a 2 is and what a 3 is and what a 4 is.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure of that before we did an average. Because after talking with Stephanie, I think, you know, her opinion of what a 2 was and my opinion of a 2 was different things.
Right.
And so,
I think that's fair, Bill.
So
Fine if you want.
I want to make sure that we are all on the same page.
Right.
If I may continue, I said that a 3, in my opinion, that's middle of the road. You know, it's vanilla ice cream. It's like, it's not great, it's not bad, it's just, you know, kind of what's expected, I suppose. A 4 grade is, wow, you're doing a good job. A 5 grade is, that's exceptional. You know, you're the best. I think that a 2 is, I think you need improvement in this area. And as I said, a 1 means we should be shopping for a new assessor because it's really, really horrible. That was my opinion. How do you guys feel on those grades? Right, Nancy, how do you feel?
well,
Is that-
for the public's benefit, there are no 1s on this evaluation form. As far as rating for 2, developing performer is what the definition, I guess, the short definition that's on the form. And developing performer to me means hired with skills, learning how either we do things or learning the stuff that is needed to continue to move to the next grade, which is 3, consistent performer. And I consider consistent performer to be average. Okay, that's average for the job. So as far as 1 goes, needs improvement. I didn't give any 1 scores, but I can also tell you, Stephanie and I worked together a lot because of minutes. And as we worked through the minutes, I would point things out to her that should be changed, or ways of trying to do minutes that would help her get through them faster and help me get through them faster too. So I guess I was kind of coaching her along the way because in helping her, I was helping myself. Again, I didn't use anyone simply because when I spoke to her about something, she caught on quickly. And so I would look at developing performer and she did whatever it was I was talking about accordingly. So, that's how I looked at it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair too. And for me, I took it right at face value as to what is listed on our rating scale, right? So a 1 is needs improvement, and then the definition of that, and 2, developing performer. So I didn't see any real negatives here. I think, the tendency for a lot of people is to, if it's a 1 to 5 and 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, if you're a 2 in something, then that's really bad. I don't see that as really bad. I think a 2 being, and true to definition, developing performer, the employee is demonstrating effort in learning the essential functions of his or her position. The employee is aware of areas for personal improvement. I think that's huge. When people don't think there's area for improvement, I think that's definitely a negative. But I think when they're aware of an area for improvement rather, I think that's a tremendous positive. So that makes a big difference when somebody's aware that they need to improve and then start working towards that. Shows humility and the fact that they don't think they're just great and they can handle everything. They realize, hey, there's some things they're going to work on. So I didn't see a 2 there as a negative. But I think we're kind of all on the same page with 3 being an average down the road, 4 being above average. And that's what number 4 says, above average. And 3 is consistent performance. Consistency is good. We say it's average, but consistency is important. And the people around you that work with you, to have somebody who's consistently performing, that is important. And attitude, being consistent is important. So I think, I think all those are not bad. That's my point. And I think to your point, Bill, like somebody, if somebody gets a 1, we're looking for a new assessor. I would say that if they got a 1 in every category, we're looking for a new assessor. I think a 1 in one category probably isn't. And I think that's probably where you're at too, right? So if Stephanie ended up with a 1 across the board and she got, a score of 7 or 8 or something, I think that's problematic. I'm not sure you're there. I also think one thing too, for the public to realize, we're not in the office every day with Stephanie. So I think it's, we get a snapshot. This is the best system that the town has for us to evaluate performance. And I think that there are other factors that come into play that the assessors don't see, that the board doesn't see rather. We're not in the office all the time, and that's not our position. So we're basing this on our experiences with Stephanie, and that's it. Yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Can
Okay.
you follow, Bill?
Yeah.
All right.
I think the other thing too is this evaluation form provides for an interim evaluation. And
Right.
if there were problems that were detected, we'd have had that interim evaluation, because if there was performance in the level of 1, it wouldn't have gone on this long, not as far as I'm concerned. It would have, we would have done that mid-year or midterm, whatever you want to call evaluation, in the hopes of improving performance. And that's the reason why we have that in there. So anyhow.
Yeah. So then, so what do you want to do, Nancy and Bill? You
So
have an
I
average.
I just adjusted one of my scores based on that conversation. And I don't know if we want to do it now or later. Do you want to do the math?
I'm going to, what I'm going to read is what the averages were before the adjustments made by Eric and Bill, which means since they were higher, the numbers I'm going to read, and I'll point out the categories, will be higher than this average. So I'll recalculate these and we'll get a fill in a blank form, because it's due next week. And we've got to get it to Mrs. Brady, I believe. Is that
Right.
all right? So
So Bill, you're looking to go each score here real quick? Nancy, you looking to go through each score here real quick and just say,
I'm gonna give you the average, okay?
okay,
Well,
Yep.
what's the point in giving the average if it's not the final?
Then we have a calculator,
I do.
okay?
You know, I said, you want to do it now?
Bill, you
We
want to
can
go
do it now.
through?
Yeah, there's only two categories and to come up with this, okay? So,
There you Category 6.
24, 25, and 27, that's the total. All right, now, category
Hold on.
6,
That's a 25.33. Is the
all right.
average.
Category 6, we have 3, 4, and 3. So,
It's a 3.33.
all right, and then the other one is category 2. And there was one change there. So we have 3, 4, and 4.
It's 3.66.
All right. Okay. So with the updates that Mr. Moore just gave me, item 1, job knowledge is unchanged, 3.67. Item number 2, quality of work, 3.66. That's the new number.
Okay,
Planning and organization, teamwork and attitude, and dependability are all 4s.
okay,
6, independent initiative is 3.33.
okay,
Leadership and effectiveness is 2.33.
Okay.
These are the numbers that should go on the evaluation form. And we could fill those in and sign it. And when you get back, you can sign it. We'll leave it to
Okay.
Stephanie. So we can meet the deadline. That work for you?
Yeah, do we have a blank one that we can just do it now?
Stephanie, here it is. If you would just fill it in and we'll stop by and sign it.
Okay.
Whoops. Make it.
I'm not sure what you're going to say, so go ahead.
Oh,
You go ahead. and make
okay.
the motion.
I make a motion that we submit the composite evaluation for Stephanie Schechter based on the numbers that I just read, the new averages.
Second,
motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Stephanie, do you want to say anything?
No.
Nope, okay.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye. What are we on?
sign invoices.
agenda, Bill.
5A,
So now we're on new business.
yeah,
Invoice, if any.
No invoices.
All right. Motor vehicle abatements, if any.
Yep. Geez. You know what? There is no motor vehicle, sorry.
Okay,
Okay, so,
23 real exemptions.
yep. So, these are the exemptions that you guys have already signed. Previous meetings, you guys have approved, and this is just putting it through.
so it's going to the treasurer now or the collector?
It's going to the accountant.
There you go.
Oh, the accountant, okay.
Motion, we sign the monthly list of real estate tax exemptions for 23 in the amount of $4,232.57.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
All right, so what are we on? You see D, CPA exemptions.
Yep.
Oh, was that the only one or we got more real estate?
Nope.
No,
Next CPA's next.
yep, so this is the CPA that goes
thing.
along, yeah. Things you've already signed.
Motion
off.
that we sign the monthly list of exemptions for CPA for 2023 in the amount of 4,200.
No.
Wait a minute, that's the same
It's the
number.
little, it's It's on the front. It's the small.
Oh, $76.98.
Second,
Motion made in second. Any discussion?
So
all those
that
in
means
favor?
The last one is the vote, okay.
I'm sorry, what's the last thing you said, Eric?
I just said all those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
So yeah, the previous one, did
So-
I,
I didn't write down the numbers. I was just gonna look, so
okay, if you can just, we all agree that it was the number that was on the front. What was the
Okay.
number on the front?
it's over there with Nancy.
It's over there
I
with
didn't write
Nancy.
it down.
The number was $4,135.59.
I can highlight those next time, so if you don't look at the cover.
Sorry.
You'll know what it is.
Thank you.
So this is the abatements. These are abatements that you.
This is the same thing we
Yeah, so
already
this-
agreed
yes, exactly.
to,
Because they have to actually go through them into the system. That's what all these are.
so what happens when people pass away? Aren't we supposed to, and the property is supposed to go to the estate or something like that?
It all depends what's in the deed. So we only change owner's information when we have a deed. But sometimes there's remainderment. If this person had a life estate, then sometimes it'll list, it goes to the son and the daughter, and then we'll put their name
So all I'm
in.
saying is, Eotis Dyer Junior died many years ago.
The junior one did too?
Yeah, Junior died many years, Senior died recently.
There might be, so I have to look into it. I mean, I don't, the bills are still getting paid. They're still going
Okay,
until there's,
just FYI.
Yeah.
You should know that that person was long deceased.
are these owners live in Rehoboth?
I would imagine.
that's just the,
Unless there's
property
other.
It's a daughter.
yeah.
If it's the family I'm thinking of, it's the daughter. There's a daughter who's kind of taking care of everything.
Okay.
I motion that we sign the monthly list of abatements for real estate in the amount of $7,204.22.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye,
What was
We
it?
on F now? CPA?
Amount? Well,
Okay, no, I'm sorry, I only read that and I thought that I took them out of order.
it's the same, these things
Yep,
we approved.
yep, the same people.
Oh, this is just the other,
Is this
Okay.
another portion of,
is it year? Is that what it was? Whatever. I motion we sign the monthly list of abatements for CPA 2023 in the amount of $56.98.
second,
Motion made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
aye. So that one you were talking about, was that Purchase Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a daughter, the surviving.
so
Right.
unless there is a separate line that might have her on there, I'll look into it when I go back to the office.
I know she's been in communication with, I'm not sure if it's Concom or which board it is. I don't know if it's donation of land to the town or something, but I know she's taking care of that kind of stuff. That's how I know she's around.
So this is the electric that came off, of different people that had abatements. They have CPA, portion of CPA comes off and electric and water, whatever.
This is the same, yeah.
Yeah,
it's the
it's,
Same thing.
yeah. Unfortunately, it's all,
It's three different
yeah. all
things we
different.
have to sign. So same. Motion that we sign the monthly list of abatements for real estate electric district for 2023 in the amount of $3.36.
Ooh,
Hey, but do it.
I'll
Did I hear it?
that. We're gonna have a big discussion on this.
Yes, we should. Every penny counts.
You have a second,
We do. Okay. Made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
And some of the water.
Same water district, motion that we sign the list of abatements for the water district for 2023 in the amount of $64.41.
second,
Motion made and second. Any discussion?
Is this, which water district is it?
Goes along with those.
Yeah, these are all four of these are together.
They're just the
last three
abatements
things.
when we,
But which district? There's two water districts. So,
it would say, it would be the fire district if it was coming out of fire. Water's just.
all right, so this one is the Dayton Water District.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
So we're good. That's our discussion.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any public here today?
No, we got a room full of empty chairs. I just want to mention, in case anybody doesn't know it, the Forest Hills proposed housing development. The planning board closed the hearing and rejected the project. So I assume the next thing that'll happen is there'll be some legal action, but for the time being, it's done in this town.
Right, yep.
I do. I'm sure you haven't had time since.
I
we
have
were-
not had time.
But you wouldn't have either anyway, because I just printed them out before we came over, so. We can always
So,
move that for next time.
Number 8 of the, we're not acting on item number 8.
Is there any correspondence?
Could, well, yeah, is there any correspondence?
Nope, no correspondence. Nope.
Okay, I'd like to move that we table reviewing and approving the minutes.
Second,
All right, motion made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. I
When's
think
our next
motion to
regular?
table does not have any
8.
discussion.
that's correct.
It doesn't have it. Okay.
The eighth.
March the 8th is our regular?
Yeah.
Okay.
Table until next.
We got anything unanticipated?
No,
Before we go into executive session, I just want to say, getting back to that power purchase agreement, I'm going to go through it. I'll make a list of questions. I'll send them to Stephanie to send out to board members, just so you know what I'm looking at. And then if you have a chance to look at the agreement, we'll determine where we go from here. But I think before we talk to whether it's the state or our consultant or whatever, we as a board need to get more information directly from the gentleman representing that solar company and also the Aggie School. It may eliminate some questions, but I still think we're going to end up with some residual issues that we're going to have to follow up on. So I just don't want to spend any money at this time.
Okay.
so
You wanna go to
Executive
session? I motion that we move to executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply or act on the authority of any special law, federal grant and aid requirements in order to review, discuss, and act on fiscal year 2023 abatements.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We will not be returning to regular session.
It's what, 11?
11:53 by my clock.